All right, I'm just gonna talk to y'all today. Well, I built some of these Legos here. Got a different kind of setup here with my phone. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, thanks for joining me on another episode of Automate IT, brought to you by Automox. My name is David Van Heerden, and we'll be chatting about leadership, IT management, IT operations, and the role that automation plays in all of this. I like to talk in stories, so if you can trust me to get to a point eventually as I bring you along a journey, I think we might be able to learn a thing or two, especially if y'all have something to say about my experience, whether you had something different, some advice for me as I continue on, or if I happen to give you something that was meaningful and helpful. So yeah, here we go. All right, I have a pile of Legos to sift through here, so maybe we'll just start on getting organized, which is a bit of a funny metaphor, I would say, for automation in general. Now, the theme for this month is to talk about how Automox drinks its own champagne, right? A phrase in the industry would be to eat your own dog food, right? So does Automox use Automox in its day-to-day? Which, before I joined this company, I was the head of IT for an organization that had a lot of different divisions, subdivisions, sub-brands. And so we had to set up, tear down, set up and sell, set up and transition a lot of our projects between IT teams. We sort of operated like an MSP in a way, but internally, which I think has actually become quite a bit of a common trend to see happen. Oops, I think I grabbed the wrong piece here. All right, well, I'm already in the backtrack phase, the rollback phase here. But as I joined Automox, and the story I want to tell you is my first true experience using this product, was when I joined the team. We had a single IT member who had been there for just about over a year, and then another IT admin who had joined just a few months before me. And when I came on board, I was brought on as the IT engineer. Now, I would be the first to admit that I was not engineer status, especially compared to these sysadmins that we had on that team. I mean, these guys were busting out scripts left and right, speaking Python, PowerShell and Bash like it was a second language. And for me, I understood how to build a solution. Oh, I just realized this camera is not capturing all of my hand movements here. So I'm trying, there we go. That's a little better, isn't it? And so from there, joining this team, I immediately felt inadequate. I was like, I don't have much to contribute. You guys are already scripting a bunch of things out. But the nice part about it was that they were applying scripting in a very one-to-one sense. So when we had a new employee join the company, the laptop was delivered to one of our IT members' homes, and then we would sign in with our credentials and then load up all of the onboarding scripts for that endpoint and for that user. And that was great because those scripts automated a very tedious process of setting up local user accounts, applications, configuring the settings for those applications, all the different things that we need to do for onboarding somebody. But it made us kind of do a bit of an arm wrestle with the business where we needed a pretty hefty lead time for a new employee. We needed to know, the position that they were hiring for first so that we could make sure that we spec'd the right machine, and needed to know the role and what kind of software they needed so we could make sure we would load that software up so that on their first day, because our goal was that on their first day, they could get up and work as fast as possible. And that meant that there was a little bit of this arm wrestle with HR because they are trying to move fast and enable the business to hire someone quickly. We have the same goal in trying to do the same thing, but we're really just hampered by the work that we need to do to get somebody up and running. And so as I started to learn the Automox product a lot more and understand what it could do, the fact is that we had this thing called worklets that can just run those PowerShell scripts, run the Bash scripts and the Python ones too, for that matter. A little more complex to do that, but it could run these libraries of scripts automatically. So then the only objective that we really needed with a new laptop was just to get it enrolled in Automox. So step one for me joining that team was to diagram out and really communicate that vision to the two sysadmins that, hey, we need to simply load all of our automation scripts into the Automox tool. And then once it's in the Automox tool, all we have to do on that endpoint is get the agent going. And for your information out there, there's this wonderful solution called zero touch deployment. It's not a singular tool, it's just more of a concept of deploying a machine without having to touch it, right? And the end result of successfully configuring zero touch is that the employee can receive the laptop directly from the seller. So think your Best Buy, Apple, Microsoft Store, whatever your vendor might be. Shout out to CDW and SHI. And from them goes straight to the employee, straight out of the warehouse. That employee turns on the laptop and suddenly it's got all the configurations it needs. That's all you have to do. So we pursued that zero touch solution as an IT team, which it took a little bit of architecting, a little bit of planning. We had to migrate a lot of devices over into a zero touch compliant solution, which is mostly mobile device managers, right? But that was kind of the beauty of Automox, is that for all of our enrolled devices, it wasn't that hard to just run that script to load the files that we needed to do to prep the device for enrollment. So we could do these large scale migrations into mobile device management and from one platform into another automatically without ever having to see a device, which I know for a fact is the thing that so many IT teams nowadays are terrified of approaching, because my goodness, we're going to have to get everyone's laptops delivered, or we're going to have to remote connect for 30 minutes onto everybody's machine to run the script and get it done. And that was the beauty of the Automox agent, is that we could do these low level programmatic things without disrupting our end users. All we did was give them the courtesy of a heads up and say, hey, we're going to run this script. It might pop up a black box on your screen and blink a cursor for a second. But once that's done, all we'll need from you is, your regularly scheduled reboot that we have you do often as we patch. And once that's done, you're in, you're enrolled. And for every new employee, they just got brand new laptops that got set up the way they needed to get set up. And the beauty of this, right, isn't that, the skilled sysadmins who knew how to script everything, their effort wasn't wasted in building up this GitHub repo filled with automation scripts. The beauty is that we could just take those automations that had a lot of effort put into them already and put them at scale. They were operating on a single endpoint, one at a time. And with Automox, we were able to distribute it at scale, which I think was something as a monumental success for us, because just after we implemented that solution of zero touch deployment and automated endpoint configuration through Automox, we were at a huge growth spurt as a company. I think our largest hiring group was in the range of 38, I would say, people in one single day, which is just insane. And all remote, mind you. And this IT team did not need to touch a single one of those laptops when we onboarded these groups of 20 or more a week, which I am so proud of what we accomplished as an IT team during that time. It was extremely painful when we reached our reduction in force, but all the same, we had built a very robust and reliable solution. Where is this missing piece? I might be sitting here this whole time looking for a single Lego piece, but this is the fun of it, right? So yeah, there's a little anecdotal story of Automox and how for me as a nervous, less skilled scripter, I could still use the Automox platform and tool to automate at scale. I could leverage the work and effort of my very talented teammates to then bring a solid solution to this company that we still use to this day. So yeah, I encourage all of you to take a second look at how you do your endpoint configuration. And this counts for virtual machines. This counts for those one-off terminals that you have sitting around, those devices stuck. Man, I can't not find this piece. Those devices crammed behind televisions, where you need to find a way to manage it without disrupting what it's presenting on the second display. And you know, the Automox solution is a fantastic way to allow you to manage those things quietly, but effectively in the background. And to not be afraid to approach these tools from a bigger picture perspective. If you are a little lost on the scripting side of things, there's a tool that'll let you automate at scale and get a lot of work done, even with little to no scripting knowledge. Hello, like me. So yeah, no, thanks for listening to my ramble. I'm gonna find this piece somewhere in this pile. I'm looking for this little guy right here. So I don't know if you caught it in the video where I maybe got it lost somewhere, but yeah, thanks for listening. I'll catch y'all next time.